Gonna butcher this, aren't I? Well, my layering combo for today, because I thought you guys might find it a little bit interesting. So the bottom layer that I have is Cairo from Penhaligon's. You guys know I absolutely adore this fragrance. It's a beautiful, like ambery, smoky, leathery rose fragrance made by Christopher Renaud, which is one of my most favorite perfumers that is out there. And then I just layered it with, I don't know if you guys can see that, but Ready for Rosé from Veronique Gabai. So this is like a more sweeter Damascus rose, very champagne-like. So I just thought kind of like the layering in between the two might be a really fun kind of combo. So we'll see if it makes any difference at all. I doubt that it will. But so I just started reading this new book called The Glass Bead Game from Hess, and I will be doing like a mini review, I guess, towards the end of the video. But as you can see, I hopped on the train. I was going actually through practically the Peak District, which has to be one of the most beautiful parts of like Yorkshire, going into Lancashire. Really fantastic views, as you can probably see. Loads of valleys, hills, rolling hills, grass fields. It was really stunning, and I dropped off at this cafe. I think it's called Nico Cafe, and the coffee was incredible. I actually had it with amaretto syrup, which is one of my most favourite syrups, by the way. I don't know why you guys need to know that, but I'm just going through the town of Knutsford, a super historical town in Cheshire. Quite almost reminds me of like a miniature York in a weird way. And as you can see, I'm going through the doors of Pulse Perfumery. Really aesthetic store, I have to give it to them. The way they've laid out all of the brands and the fragrances, it really makes such a difference. Here I am just kind of coming through. As you can see, you're greeted with the most incredible Parfums de Marly shelf. So you have Leighton, Zafanad, Casilli, all of the main fragrances here. So, you know, if you guys are into Parfums de Marly, and if you want somewhere to explore the brands, come down to Pulse Perfumery, or come up to Pulse Perfumery, wherever you are. Frederic Malle has a really extensive range here, so you will get all of the main ones like Carnal Flower, Trait of a Lady, etc. You have Creed, so your Aventus, you know, Intense, all of the main Creed fragrances here, Irish Tweed, the new Viking one as well. And then if you can see below, you have Carmina alongside Queen of Silk, which is one that I've already done a review of. If you guys have not caught that video, I would highly recommend that you watch it. And I'm just panning over, as you can see, to Matière Première. Wow. You guys have no idea, well, if you've tried the brand, then you will have an idea how beautiful the fragrances are here. And the extraction processes were actually really interesting. Peter was explaining to me how he extracts the fragrance, well, the actual notes themselves, the flowers, a very old school way, also an incredibly expensive type of process. So I'll give it to Matière Première. Super great quality in their fragrances. And as you can see, Pantheon Roma really surprised me. I've tried a couple of their fragrances, more leaning towards the gourmand side of things, but they also had a fantastic collection of more floral based fragrances, as well as a tropical one, which you'll see towards the top, called A, which I will be explaining more towards the end of the video. Initio Parfums, as you guys know, I don't even have to explain this house. You have all of the most amazing fragrances: Aphrodisiac, Side Effect, gosh, there's just too many to be honest. There is like a newer release called Narcotic Delight, which wasn't to my taste, to be honest. But as you go down, you see Bois 1920, a really surprising house to me, an Italian brand, and Peter kind of explained more about it. And as you pan across, you see Fragrance de Bois de Santal, Complete, New York, Oud Rose Intense, Cavour, Lovers, all of the main fragrances, pretty much every Fragrance de Bois perfume that you can imagine is here. So if you want to explore the brand, considering it's a little bit more expensive, then you can definitely test it here. And more Bois 1920 towards the bottom. And as you pan across, you see Atelier des Bois. Now, I don't know if you guys find the same about this house. I find it incredibly elegant. The notes themselves really shine. They particularly enjoy like more aquatic ones, as you can see towards the left, and then more floral heavy, citrus heavy towards the right. And then you have this incredible selection and Stefan Humbert Lucas. Now, I know a lot of you guys will be fans of this particular house. You have A Wish Come True, Pantheon, Iris fragrances, Mango Kiss, Lady White Snake, loads of incredible offerings here. Now, the most surprising of them all was actually Simone Andreoli. And the reason being is because I actually haven't found any physical stores that stock Simone Andreoli, and I've come to find out that they are stocked online, but the only physical store in the UK that stocks Simone Andreoli is Parfumery in Knutsford. Now, how incredible is that? So if you guys have always been wanting to actually sample these physically in person, I would recommend that you come along. And for the price point as well, you actually get a really good deal. I think most of these, as the Parfum Intenses, were priced around about £150 for 100ml, which is practically equivalent to your luxury designer fragrances like your Chanel, like your Van Cleef & Arpels, etc. And as you pan across, you'll see Nichane. So you have all of the most popular ones, so 100 Silent Ways, Annie, Hachivat, loads of beautiful offerings here. I am a fan of Nichane, but unfortunately I don't actually have any of their fragrances in my collection at the minute. Maybe I need to explore the house a little bit more and find something that works for me. Down towards the bottom you have Luban. If you guys know, they have incredible fragrances like Gin Fizz, Upper 10, really incredible selection, and Peter actually distributed a lot of their fragrances.
It always feels so funny looking at yourself like, what am I actually doing here?
Here I'm just sniffing away. I feel like I'm in heaven, and A from Pantheon Roma really blew my socks off. I have a sample of it which I'll show a bit later. So on the other side of the store, that's when you come into more of the designer, luxury designer type of selections. And in fact, I think it's great that they have it here, because as much as niche fragrances are fantastic, sometimes exploring designer fragrances is equally as exciting. So you have Hermès, all of like the Jardin collection, which is heavily focused on like garden type of theme. And as you go towards the bottom, you have Mont Blanc. So this is really popular amongst men, I find, and they don't really have such a great female selection, to be honest. Now, one of my most favorite luxury designer houses is Van Cleef & Arpels. And if you guys know, I have a few of their fragrances. So Neroli, Amara, Oud Blanc, and you can see as you pan along, you have Gardenia Petale, Bois Doré, which is a fantastic gourmand, very elegant, by the way, considering it's a gourmand fragrance. So Moonlight Patchouli, fantastic offering here, and at a good price point as well. So if you want to start off with something a little bit less expensive, not as niche, then you have Van Cleef & Arpels, Bulgari, Jasmine Noir. I'm sad they don't do like the original Jasmine Noir anymore. They only have the Splendida, but anyway, that's on a whole different tangent. Atkinson's, which is quite a well-known British brand, they have a fantastic selection. What I find really great about Atkinson's is they're strongly kind of dedicated to a specific note. So oud, for example, or specific floral, or even specific woody fragrances, they're very note heavy. So that's what I really enjoy about Atkinson's. We're just going down below. Now, this brand I'd actually never come across before, and when I was speaking with Peter, he was explaining that I think they're exclusively at the store. I don't know if I remember that correctly, but anyway, you kind of have like a good idea of the different fragrances that they have. lots of like woody, sweeter. The fragrance that I did try from this brand, I found that it leaned a little bit sweeter, which was interesting. You also have Elisab, I'm just seeing which other ones, Laboratorio. I'm really going to butcher that name. This, at the price points, you have more unique fragrances I tend to find in this one. Kind of reminds me a bit of like Le Labo type of vibe, going into that Byredo Le Labo theme, you know, even with the minimalistic bottles, you can see kind of where they got that inspiration from. And now we're panning down to Elisab. You guys know how much I love Elisab. For the price point as well, you can really get some monstrously performing fragrances out of this house. Chanel, you have the like signature line here. So if you are into Chanel or any of their signature line, then I would recommend that you take a sniff. And we're just going towards the top, number 5. All of the most well-known out of their line. And Coco Mademoiselle, you guys know about that fragrance already, I don't even need to explain that one. Allure, Coco Mademoiselle, Coco Noir, lots of great choices here. Chance, really beautiful fresh fragrance. And towards the bottom you have the men's Bleu de Chanel Allure, really handsome fragrances if I say so myself. And now for one of my most favorite brands that exists, Ormond Jane. I can't even tell you how many fragrances I love from this brand. You guys know already, I love their Le Soir collection, which is basically like their Silk Road collection. You have Monte Bacco here, and their flanker, so you have Rio, which I believe is a little bit more tropical fruity. And then as you go towards the bottom, you have more of the signature line. One of my most favorites is actually Almond Woman and Almond Man. So now we're panning across to Montal and Mancera, basically the same brands, right? So Montal have a really great selection. The only thing that I find with Montal sometimes, and I don't know if you guys feel the same, to me it comes across a little bit synthetic, a little bit abrasive. So I find sometimes their fragrances are a little bit less wearable, or if you are wearing their fragrances, maybe it is on an occasion where you do want to stand out in the crowd, where you want to be smelt. And you know, no disrespect, I think they have really incredible fragrances, really classy Italian mid-range house. Lots of, I would say, more leaning masculine fragrances, to be honest. And the masculine fragrances that they do have on offer here are very elegant, super sophisticated, and as I said, for the price point, I think you get a lot for your money. So yeah, I think that's pretty much towards the end of their selection here. And as like just like a miniature review on the book that I've been reading, Glass Bead Game from Hess, I actually really like it. So yeah, that was it, and that was my journey to Pulse Perfumery.
So just to round off this video, I just thought I would show you guys the fragrances that I got from Pulse Perfumery, and also I just wanted to come on here just to kind of explain the experience a little bit more. I think with the voiceover it's great because it shows you guys all of the different brands that they offer, all of their selections, but I think actually giving you guys a better roundup of the experience is what I need to do. My intention was just to visit like a niche perfume store. I do it fairly often whenever I have a chance because I think it's great and it's quite fun, I think, testing different fragrances, maybe some that you've never heard of before. It's always quite like a fun journey. What was really interesting is when I went into Pulse Perfumery, I didn't realize quite the depth of knowledge that the team have. So Peter obviously has distributed a number of different brands within the UK and has launched them, which is absolutely incredible. His journey in fragrances is noteworthy, and I was just there listening in all like this the entire time because I just thought to myself, what a pleasure it is to find somebody as passionate as you are when it comes to fragrances, and to find somebody who definitely has the knowledge that maybe others won't online, for example. So yeah, that's just to kind of summarize
my experience. Super friendly, very passionate and knowledgeable. I wish it was a collaboration, please guys. As I said, it was literally just off the whim visiting a niche perfume store, and I found a fantastic one, which was at Pulse Perfumery. Granted, they had a huge selection of fragrances, but maybe not as quote-unquote niche as, for example, like a Bois Paris or Bloom Perfumery, but I quite liked that. Sometimes when you go into the real realm of like niche fragrances, it can be very overwhelming. I don't know if you guys find the same, but just exploring the sheer amount of brands that are out there can be a bit of a struggle. So just simplifying it in those selections that Pulse Perfumery had was fantastic. But anyway, let's jump into which fragrance I bought, why I bought it, and kind of the samples that I picked up as well that they kindly included. So we'll just jump straight into that. So I bought from the house of Bois 1920. I don't know if you guys can see. By the way, I've already unwrapped everything, let's be for real. I mean, I did it on Instagram, I've done it on TikTok. There's only so much wrapping that it can have by the time that it just gets destroyed. So this is what we're working with. Now, what I found really interesting, and this is what Peter explained to me, because I believe he was the person who distributed Bois 1920 within the UK, and I always thought it was pronounced Bois, because you know, French brands like Fragrance du Bois, you would imagine that it's pronounced Bois, but in fact, because it's an Italian brand, it actually is an acronym for, or an abbreviation for Bottega, which is the first BO, which I believe is Boutique Italiana Spigo. And the Spigo, what Peter was explaining to me, actually represents the stem of the lavender. And the reason being is because the grandson who kind of revived the house, he was like a huge cultivator and extractor of lavender. That was his passion. That was kind of the work that he was into. So it explains everything. I mean, this entire time I thought it was called Bois 1920, whereas now I know it's pronounced Bois 1920. So that was really interesting. And to be honest, I've only tried a few fragrances from this house, and thank God I had Peter there, because he's an expert when it comes to this brand, and just showing me all of the, the different fragrances based on notes that I really like. But the one that I requested straight off the bat, and one that I've been needing to try for a very long time, is called Piranha. And this is the packaging. I think it's actually quite a beautiful box considering the price point. Yes, it's expensive, but it's pretty much the same price as what you would have as luxury designer. So like Hermes or Chanel, Chloe, all of these designer brands, it's pretty much the same cost. So I thought that was a really great deal. But anyway, this is the box. And then as you open it, it comes in this really pretty, I'm gonna butcher this, aren't I? This really pretty black box inside. Oh gosh, I'm really gonna struggle getting this out. Just give me one sec. Right, so this is the black inner box that I was explaining. And then, oh, it's upside down. Oh gosh, I'm really butchering this, aren't I? So this is Piranha. And as you can see, it's a really pretty bottle, just in a clear glass with a gold lid. It's even beveled towards the top, not engraved, but I think it's beveled. So yeah, I just think it's a really fantastic packaging, very sturdy. I think this will, last me a fair amount of time. Now, the main reason why I wanted to buy this fragrance is because I wanted to share it with my partner. I think this leans very unisex. I think both men and women can wear this. Most people, I think, would assume that it's more male oriented, but particularly on my skin, I think what I found really interesting is that the fruity, citrusy nuances really shone quite drastically. And then obviously it does go into that woody vetiver type of base. Really, really beautiful fragrance. I know a lot of people compare it to Hachivat from Nishane, but honestly, I think this is even better. I find Hachivat to be, I don't know, sometimes a little bit abrasive, whereas this is just the quality and the craftsmanship behind this fragrance is unreal. The citruses towards the top with the bergamot mixed with the black currant,
it does a magic trick on your skin, and I thought this smelled incredible. So I'm super happy to have got it. And as I said, he's kind of opened my eyes to Bois 1920 as a house in general. So if you guys have not tried Piranha, please give it a go. So lastly, I would just show you also the samples that they kindly included for me. So with the purchase, they just wrote this really pretty card. So it just says, enjoy your fabulous fragrance. It's really sweet. So that's Pulse of Perfumery, and then that's like a picture of their store, sent with love. I love it. And I'm just gonna dig through this this wrapping paper. So I'll show you guys the samples that I got. Now, they didn't have to include this for me, but they were so kind to include it because I think they knew that I'd, you know, come out of my way to see the perfume store. And honestly, there were so many fragrances that I loved, but these ones in particular, they kindly included samples for me. So the first one was A from Pantheon Roma. Now, this one is actually a fairly expensive fragrance. For 100 ml, it's £350, which I'm not sure what the dollars equivalent would be. But honestly, I think it is worth the money. I know I never knew that I would say that, but it is a dynamite of a fragrance. If you guys love tropical, coconut, sweet, fruity fragrances, this is like a different level. I was so shocked when I first smelled this, and it really blew my socks off because, I mean, tropical fragrances in of themselves are like done quite often, but the way this has been blended is just a different level. And also the projection, the performance, considering I only sprayed it on my, or Peter only sprayed it on my hand, it really projected quite a bit, and you could definitely smell that tropical coconutty nuance in it. So yeah, so that's A from Pantheon. Absolutely incredible. I was honestly blown away, and I'm really tempted to buy a bottle. So the next one that I got was actually one that really surprised me, again from Pantheon Roma, and this is actually called Donna Margherita. And again, Peter kind of explained the history behind this specific line. So the owner kind of dedicated this specific fragrance to his loved one, and I have to say this is one of the best jasmine fragrances I've tried in a very long time. In fact, I'm going to spray a little bit here just to remind myself how it smells. Like, super feminine, by the way. And this is mixed with, oh, I can just smell it right now, this creamy tuberose. Super gorgeous, very feminine. I think this sums up a loved one, or like a partner, a girlfriend, a wife very well. It really reminds me of Jasmine Rouge, but Jasmine Rouge to my nose is a little bit more spicy, whereas this one leans a little bit more creamy. And it's an absolute joy. I am going to be buying a full bottle of this because I absolutely adore it. In fact, there are a few that I tried at the store that I would like to buy a bottle. So yeah, that's Donna Margherita. And then last of all, this one really surprised me. So this is from Simone Andreoli, and this is called Don't Ask Me Permission. So this specific fragrance is quite interesting because it's very sweet. It's very sugary sweet. It has lots of tropical fruit in the beginning, and it leans, to my nose, a little bit masculine. I don't know where I'm getting that from, but it surprised me because when I first smelled it, I was blown away. But then when I tried it on my skin, although it was really pretty, I felt it almost leaned a little bit too masculine. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try it on my partner, see how it wears on him. And then, you know, if it does wear really well, then obviously, you know, I'll get him the bottle, or he'll buy the bottle himself, whatever way. Doesn't matter, I just want him to smell good. So yeah, that's it, guys. I hope that you enjoyed it. By the way, I am going to be doing a men's targeted fragrance video, which is very exciting to me because as much as I have female viewership, I also have male viewership, and I think it'd be interesting to show you guys, on my boyfriend by the way, which fragrances are, you know, really beautiful on his skin, what makes him super handsome to me. I mean, he's handsome as it is, but you know what, I'm
what I'm trying to say. So that's it. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this vlog. If you guys have any question, any queries, why am I saying it as if it's like a formal thing? If you guys have any suggestions or any places that you'd like me to visit, please comment it down below and I'll catch you in my next video. Bye guys.